Hey guys, Tyler Berger here with Bass Fishing HQ, and today is all about the swing head, the wobble head, the biffle bug, the wobble woo, whatever you call it, guys. Today I really want to go over this technique, how to fish it, where to fish it, all kinds of things like that. So stay tuned, it's going to be a good one. All right guys, so we did it. We hit 25,000 subscribers and I'm super pumped about that. At the very end of this video, I'm actually going to be announcing the winners of the giveaway, the real giveaway, and also the 5 people who are getting bass hats like this. I'm also going to be setting a new goal here in the future of what I think that this channel can hit by the end of 2021. Not exactly sure what that is, but guys, let's go ahead. Let's get into the wobble head. I know that's why you're here. So guys, throughout this video, I'm gonna call it a wobble head at times. I'm going to call it a swing head at times, but basically this is the technique that I'm talking about, which is the swing head. This was really brought onto the bass market back in the day when Tommy Biffle won a tournament on his home lake fishing what was then called a biffle bug. I think it was called a hard head or something like that. Since then, this technique has become extremely popular. Different brands have created different components, different hooks, different plastics, different heads all around this technique. But the thing is I think a lot of guys kind of overcomplicate this technique. They kind of overcomplicate it, and I still think that a lot of people simply just don't use this technique at all. Today, I just really want to go through it. How do you fish it? Where do you fish it? What size weight? What's your equipment? All those type of things. So let's simplify the swing head so you can start catching more bass. All right, guys, let's first talk about why this bait is just so effective. And the thing is, guys, is this is kind of like a silent crankbait. You can fish it kind of fast, you can cover an extreme amount of water, but it's something that really just kind of sneaks up on the fish. It doesn't move a tremendous amount of water, it doesn't have a ton of vibration, it really just kind of sneaks up on the fish and really causes a reaction strike. A lot of times when the fish first kind of move offshore in the summer, you can catch them on deep diving crankbait and big swim baits and things like that, but as the summer kind of trickles on, those bass really get kind of conditioned to those bigger baits that have a lot of vibration and move a lot of water. One of the things that you can do to continue to cover a ton of water is fish a wobble head. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can actually fish this bait, but probably the most popular and the one that I do most of the time is really kind of a slow roll to medium retrieve. Basically, I'm going to cast this bait out, I'm going to let it hit bottom, and I'm simply just going to start creeping it along the bottom. And this thing is just going to tick across the bottom, over rock piles, over wood, it kind of coming through the water column that way and just sneaking around, being real sneaky. It's what triggers a lot of bass to bite it. Now you can also fish this bait faster if you want to, but if you're going to fish it faster, typically you have to use a heavier head because you really want this thing to be kind of making constant contact with the bottom. So with that being said, let's actually talk about the head and what size weight you need to be using. Now guys, this can sometimes be where things get really complicated with the swing head because there's so many different brands out there that are making separate heads, separate hooks, and separate baits to a swing head. And if you haven't been fishing a swing head a lot, I think it's important to really kind of dumb things down, to make it simple for yourself, get confident in the lure, and then you can kind of adjust things like your weights and your hooks and things like that. And I think that's really kind of true with all techniques. If you're just starting to fish a particular technique, simplify it. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't want to go out and buy every type of weight they make for a swing head, every type of hook they make for a swing head, and try to find the perfect combination. Simplify it first, get bit, and then from there you can kind of critique what you're doing. So with that being said, guys, I would suggest starting out with a VMC swinging rubby jig. Okay, this has everything that you need. Now, I'm not sponsored by VMC or anything like that, so this is not a sponsor plug. This is just simply simplicity at its finest. This particular bait comes with the head, it comes with the hook already attached to the bait. I'm gonna suggest fishing the EWG style hook when you first start out. When it comes to the size of the weight, guys, I would go with 3/8 ounce, 1/2 ounce, and 3/4 ounce. Those are the 3 weight sizes that I would select. Now, if you're on a budget and you just want one size, I would just go with the 1/2 ounce. That's a good weight that's gonna work well in a number of different situations at a number of different depths. If I'm fishing in less than 5 foot of water, I'm gonna be using that 3/8 ounce weight. If I'm fishing from 5 foot to 15 foot, I'm gonna be using that 1/2 ounce weight. Anything over 15 foot, I'm gonna be using a 3/4 ounce or heavier. Sometimes you might have to go up to an ounce weight depending on how deep you are fishing. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the bait selection, because another thing that can impact what size weight you use is the baits that you use. Now, again, I want you guys to try to keep this thing simple. If you're just getting started with this technique, use a Strike King Rage Menace Grub. Again, not sponsored by Strike King. It's a very simple bait. It's a smaller bait, so you can catch spotted bass, you can catch smallmouth bass, and you can catch largemouth bass. So no matter what fish species you are fishing for, a Strike King Rage Menace Grub is a perfect bait to start with. Now, with that being said, guys, you can fish a ton of different plastics on the back of a swing head. You can fish really anything you want. You can fish small creature baits, you can fish bigger creature baits, you can fish swim baits. Because you are kind of constantly keeping this bait moving, I would really suggest using baits that don't have a lot of plastic on them. The less plastic you have, the easier it's gonna be to keep the bait with constant contact on the bottom. That's why I like the Rage Menace Grub so much. Another bait is a speed crawl, again, another smaller bait. And then one of the originals is the Jean LaRue Biffle Bug. This is actually the smaller version. I also like to fish this one as well. Now, you can fish a little bit bigger soft plastics. For instance, this is a Strike King Structure Bug. It's a little bit bigger of a soft plastic. It's about the size of a beaver. It has a flapping tail. It has flapping wings off to the side. But guys, the bigger your soft plastic is, sometimes the heavier you have to go with your weight to keep it at the same level. For instance, if I was fishing a rock pile that was in 12 foot of water, I would be fishing a 1/2 ounce bait with that Menace Grub. Now, if I wanted to put that Structure Bug on the 1/2 ounce bait, it's gonna be harder for me to keep that bait down with constant contact on the bottom. I'm gonna have to reel it either a little bit slower to keep it on the bottom, or I'm gonna have to step up the weight. I might wanna go to a 3/4 ounce size weight with that much soft plastic to keep it down and at the same speed. So just remember, the bigger the soft plastic, the bigger your weight might have to be to keep it in that depth zone. But like I said, if you're just getting started, if you only have the money to buy one thing, go out and buy you a Strike King Rage Menace Grub Green Pumpkin in a 1/2 ounce VMC swinging rugby head. Now, the one little modification that I do like to make to this swinging rugby head, this comes with a number of different hooks. I'm going to suggest going with the EWG style hook for this bait, and I'm simply going to take that EWG hook and I'm actually going to bend it out just a hair. Now, anytime I'm fishing an EWG style hook, this is actually what I do. I always like to just bend it up just a hair. I want that EWG to just be a slight angle upward, a slight angle coming out of the plastic and not going into the plastic. Now, this slight modification is simply just gonna help you with your hookup ratio. Now, speaking of hooking up with fish, this is one of the most important things when you're fishing a rugby head, and that is the hook set. To fish this bait, like I said, most of the time I'm fishing it kind of slow to medium and on the bottom. Typically, I'm going to slowly reel that bait, pointing my rod directly at the bait. Now, when a fish hits this, most of the time you're gonna feel it just kind of come up and either start pecking at it like toot, 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 or it's just gonna absolutely pile drive it. It's important not to set the hook right away when you feel that fish either bite it or absolutely hit it. What you really wanna do is feel the weight of the fish, and then you're gonna swing either sideways or you can swing straight up into the fish. So make sure when you feel that fish, you feel the weight. Once you feel the weight, set the hook, because sometimes these fish are gonna peck at it, especially if you're fishing around smallmouth and spotted bass. Sometimes when they first initially hit that bait, they don't get it all the way. So you really wanna feel that fish kind of more or less pull back before you set the hook, and then you're gonna have them good. So typically when I fish a swing head, I'm fishing it kind of of off the bank. I like to fish it on rock piles. That's probably my #1 place I like to fish it. You can fish it around stumps and wood cover, but there might be baits that come through that cover a little bit better. So for me, I really like to fish this offshore on rock. Now with that being said, this is not just an offshore lure. Sometimes if you're fishing down a rocky bank or a riprap bank, these might be places where you might pick up a square bill or maybe one of those 6 to 8 foot diving crankbaits. A lot of times that can be a great place to actually pick up the swing head instead. Now in those situations, again, if I'm fishing less than 5 foot of water, I'm going to be using that 3/8 ounce weight. Now if you are a bank fisherman, this is really important for you to know. As a bank fisherman, you can typically get away with using a lighter weight because you are typically casting into deeper water and bringing your bait to the bank, which is shallower. The heavier weight that you have, the more you're going to get hung up using a swing head. I'm going to suggest that you use a 3/8 ounce weight most of the time when you're fishing from the bank. That's going to help prevent you from losing so many baits. When you're fishing from a boat, a lot of times you're fishing in deeper water and you're casting into shallower. So you actually want to use a little bit heavier baits. But like I said, if you're a bank fisherman, you're going to want to do the opposite and use a little bit lighter of weights. Now guys, let's talk about your equipment. We already kind of went through the swing head itself, but I'm going to talk about the rod, reel, and line that I like to use. As far as line goes, you can get away with a little bit heavier line, but I wouldn't suggest going to 20-pound line. I really like to keep it at 15-pound fluorocarbon line. The reason I like 15-pound line is because it's heavy enough for me when I'm fishing around a lot of rocks and a lot of heavy cover, but it also doesn't have a tremendous amount of drag when you're reeling it through the water. You can actually feel the difference between fishing 15-pound fluorocarbon and 20-pound fluorocarbon as you're reeling something through the water. The 20-pound is going to have a lot more drag. It's going to keep your bait riding higher. So the 15-pound is a lot easier to manage. Now when it comes to your rod, this is probably one of the most important parts of the entire setup. I like a 7-foot, 3-inch medium heavy to heavy power rod. Now as far as the action goes, I like a little bit of more of a moderate to moderate fast action rod. I want there to be good backbone, but I don't want it to be an absolute broomstick. I like the 7-foot, 3-inch length because that way I can really make long casts. It's an easy rod to manage. I really like that 7'3" for a number of different applications. As far as the reel goes, guys, I wouldn't suggest fishing anything over a 7.1 to 1 gear ratio. The reason being is that if you're using an 8 to 1, 9 to 1, a really high speed gear ratio, it can be difficult for you to keep that bait on the bottom because a lot of us as fishermen, we just want to get out there and reel fast. So sometimes even stepping down to like a 6.3 to 1 is going to help you to kind of keep that bait on the bottom. And that is really the key to this technique, is keeping that bait down there on the bottom, kind of constantly hitting. All right, guys, I hope that really simplifies things for you when it comes to a swing head. Again, I can't stress how you need to keep things simple. Start catching fish, and then you can critique your style or what you want to do. All right, guys, I am here at my house actually editing the video that you are watching right now, but I want to go ahead and do the 25,000 subscriber giveaway real quick. So I have a list of all the contacts and people that have put their information in the giveaway right here. There's 4,188 of you. I've gone through and I've actually deleted all the duplicates for those guys who try to put their name in multiple times. So basically what I'm going to do is I have a random number generator here from Google itself. It's going to pick a number between 1 and 4,188. I'm going to generate a number. Whatever number that comes up with, it's going to correlate with a person that is in the giveaway. If you are that number, then you are the winner. It's the best way for me to do this, guys. I'm going to do the 5 hat drawings real quick, and the last one is going to be for the reel. All right, guys, let's do this. Oh, side note, I have no clue what name is gonna get pulled up here, so there's a good chance that if your name is a little bit complicated, I may butcher it when I'm doing this, and I am sorry. The other thing is, I will contact you. I have your email here. I have put it down, so I will contact you to get your address and information like that so I can get this shipped out to you as soon as possible. So let's do it. Let's do the drawing. First number is 2,693. 2,693 is Michael Riddle. Michael Riddle, you have won yourself a free bass hat. I will get a hold of you. Let's do the next one. All right, the next random number is 80. 80 is Kelly McKeague. You have won yourself a free bass hat. Just so you guys can see the number generation process. Next one is 289. 289 is Ruben Cope. Ruben Cope, you have won yourself a free bass hat. Number generation 2,960. 2,960 is Matthew Kruger. You have won yourself a free bass hat. Back to the random generator. 2,455. 2,455 is Enrique Meza. Enrique Meza. You have won yourself a free bass hat. And that is the last bass hat, guys. So now on to the reel giveaway. This is the reel, the Okuma Helios XX reel. Guys, real quick, I am planning on doing more giveaways in the future. I think I'm going to set a goal for this channel to try to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. I think it's possible. We're gonna do a huge giveaway then as well. All right, random number generator goes 244. The person that correlates to, and guys, I don't want to show you the people's names on here because it also has their email and I don't want to just throw that out there. So 244 is Tommy Dale. Tommy Dale, you have won yourself an Okuma Helios XX reel. I will get a hold of you. I will send you an email and get your address information. But that was it, guys. That was exciting for me. Hopefully it was exciting for you too. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you have a question, leave it in the comments, and please don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.